Good afternoon, everyone. I'm David Atkins, Target Individual. Today I'm going to read something out of Robert Duncan's book, Project Soul Catcher, on disrupting human networks. And I'm going to start out with a Bible verse. But first, I've had people say, well, you must be on drugs. You're moving like this. No, I was on psych meds four years straight, Seroquel, all these psych meds, and it causes tardive dyskinesia. And if you look up tardive dyskinesia, you'll see it causes these involuntary hand and face movements. So that's why I move that way. I just wanted to clear that up. But first, before I start, I'm going to start with a word from the Lord and from His Word, because it goes with what I'm fixing to talk about today. It goes exactly with it. If you're not a believer, I respect that. You can fast forward it to the information. Okay, Matthew 12:25. And Jesus knew their thoughts and said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. That's why they keep us divided. They know this. That's why they keep the whole world divided. Democrat, Republican, blacks hate whites, white hate black. You know what I'm saying? It's all division. And there's more division groups than that, gangs, different gangs. Everybody's going against each other. And that's all part of a big scheme, because they know if we ever unite, it's over. So anyway, I'm going to talk about this a little deeper right now, and I'm reading out of Robert Duncan's book, Project Soul Catcher. Okay, it's called Disrupting Human Networks. And this is how this operates. One of the reasons to spook a target is to find out what their family and friendships networks look like. People run for help to people they trust. This might be useful in routing out a terrorist network, for example. As for government control, it's useful to disrupt groups and movements from organizing or forming or protesting. The Department of Defense had several contracts approved for lifelong studies of relationships. How could DoD study the formation of relationships without spying on American citizens? Creating network connections through coincidences by design is an important way to order society. The tricks to disrupt relationships can be physical, legal, and emotional. Even in the non-canonical Bible text, this technique is spoken of. God commanded Gabriel to trick people into fighting amongst themselves. Gabriel was to go to the biters, to the reprobates, and to the children of fornication, the offspring of the watchers from among men, bring them forth and excite them against one another. Let them perish under mutual slaughter, for the length of days shall not be theirs. Enoch 10:13. This is just an example of division and how it operates. And so Gabriel instigated wars among the giants and the watchers. In the Quran, it's mentioned under trickery, where Satan makes those on the same side fight against each other. In Volume 4, Book 54, number 510, named Aisha, on the day of the Battle of Uhud, when the pagans were defeated, Satan shouted, O slaves of Allah, beware of the forces at your back. And on that, the Muslims of the front files fought with the Muslims of the back files, thinking they were pagans. Hudlib looked back to see his father, Al-Yamin, being attacked by the Muslims. He shouted, O Allah's slaves, my father, by Allah, they did not stop until they killed him. Huwaifa said, May Allah forgive you. Urwa said that Huwaifa continued to do good, invoking Allah to forgive the killer of his father until he met Allah. Divide and conquer strategies have been used by the United States in the Middle East. This helps disrupt oil monopolies. In Afghanistan, where the Cold War was fought, the United States used Iraq to fight against Iran, who the Soviet Union was backing. The Soviet Union also has interest in not allowing a union to form in the Middle East. And before I get to this, look, this was an experiment done. The researchers of this book studied 30 groups that have formed against the topic of mind control, torture, electronic harassment, and government surveillance. The majority of the groups disbands and shrinks over time. This was because of the members. Studying how they tried to organize shows a very big weakness. First, they have a severe lack of resources. Secondly, they were vulnerable to paranoia against provocateurs, those trying to disrupt the group. However, this petty bickering is what actually led to their inability to organize and unify into one loud voice. All right, I'm going to continue. Racial hatred experiments by the CIA. Over 75 mind control experiments have been identified from the 650 interviews of American CIA human behavior modification experiments in the last 4 years. One of the particular interests is inciting racial hatred. Approximately 44% of those interviewed were conditioned and brainwashed into hating a particular religion, race, and sex during their years of being experimented on. In war theories, this is necessary to incite wars between groups while pursuing a world domination strategy. It is important to weaken countries and groups that one desires to dominate. Unity creates strength. Dividing and conquering is the oldest warfare strategy in recording text, not only dividing groups who are forming, but inciting them to attack and distrust each other is an important step to create a preoccupation rational using a pre-war context of attrition. In simpler terms, this means that behind the scenes, using various techniques that the CIA, KGB, and the Nazi psychologists developed, you try to get groups to fight each other in order to reduce their numbers. Their will to fight another war exhausts their resources before you come in as the political force and take over. These techniques include a racial hatred or similar to the others. It is conditioned response used in combination of subliminal suggestion and pain signals. Biases lead to irrational hatred are usually learned through culture and parents, but it can be speeded up using methods mentioned. Correlations between torture pain signals and the presence of the characteristic to create despise is all that is necessary. The brain will naturally draw the conclusion that color, sex, religion is somehow related to pain, stress, and their demise. The subliminal messages using complex technologies beyond the scope of this article also speeds along the process. Naturally, propaganda, psychological warfare methods, information warfare methods, media manipulation are important tools in doing this to any large group. Having control of both mind control technology, media, and propaganda plant groups is how the CIA has been able to overthrow many governments to put in a new one controlled by the U.S. behind the scenes. So there you have it, divide and conquer. Until we can learn to unite and put aside our differences and realize that we share one common bond, we'll never have a chance in this. So anyway, and like I said, that's the reason you got different gangs. That's the reason you got different politics, because no matter who you hire, no matter what president, the same decisions are going to be made. They're puppets. So anyway, then you got racial wars, and there's differences, and they're all Muslims hate, they create all these wars, religions, all that, and it's all divide and conquer. So the elites, whoever's running our targeting for that instance, targeting individual community, is real stricken with this. And being that they play not mind games and nanotechnology and all that, they can plant in our head, this person's doing this to us, or this group ain't right for us, make us doubt, and keep each other apart. So, I'm just putting I'm just putting real stuff out there, and, I hope we unite, but, it's not looking good, man. It's not looking good at all. There's too much bickering going on, finger pointing and all that. And I'm not saying that's wrong, because, you got to be leery as a TI. So, maybe it's impossible to unite, but I'll always be a believer that one day we can come together under the common bond, and unite. So I got a lot better videos than this. I just wanted to do this real quick because it needs to be put out there. People need to realize what's going on with this. So I'll see y'all probably tomorrow. If not tomorrow, definitely Wednesday. Y'all have a good day and God bless.